How you doing today?
Good, Jesse. How are you?
I'm doing good. So, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your bodybuilding journey today,
Mm-hmm.
and like kind of go through the, you know, how you got into it and like how your experiences in
Sure.
bodybuilding.
Yeah, I started lifting weights at 14 years old, mainly because I was kind of bullied as a kid growing up in Florida. Kind of got tired of it. Started training on the old cement weights with the plastic coating and
Good
tiny
old
little
days.
bench in the gym or in the garage, and just got hooked. Absolutely loved training, loved lifting. Um, Once I got out of the Air Force in my 20s, continued it all along. Never really wanted to compete. Probably in my early 30s, people were keep constantly telling me, you need to compete, you need to compete. So then I took it as kind of a challenge. Didn't really want to get up there in little tiny posing trunks in front of a couple thousand people. But you know, I everyone told me just to look at the spotlight, don't look at the crowd.
Right.
So that started my journey. I did my first Mr. Georgia, won the super heavyweight. Then next year did it again, won super heavyweight, and then I was slated to be on like the national track. So my very first national show I did in Chicago. It was Junior Nationals. Got third in the super heavyweight out of about 40 guys in a class.
And like, just to throw this in there, like back then it was a lot different
Yeah.
making it to those levels because they hand out a lot more cards and let people in nationals and stuff like that than they do now than they did back then too.
Right. Back then, you had to win your entire class to even get a pro card.
Yeah, it was like one person got in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now there's 10 different divisions and classes, and so it was a much more difficult road back then.
Yeah, I've heard some of the bodybuilders talk about how so to get to that level was a lot more
Right.
difficult. Yeah.
And me being, I'm right around 6'3", so I'm not the prototypical bodybuilder. So it was a lot harder to put on the mass that I needed at that level.
Right.
And I have never hidden anything. I've always done what needed to be done at that level to compete.
Absolutely. I mean,
And fortunately or unfortunately, that required a lot of testosterone, a lot of exogenous chemicals that I was putting in my body to maintain that and be at that level.
what are your thoughts on the effects on your body now due to all that?
Physically, I have obviously a lot of pain in the lower back. I've had my right shoulder, my labrum reattached. Lots of knee issues.
Do you think a lot of that stems from just the sheer amount of body weight that you were carrying around at that time?
I think especially when you take things to get to that level, I think your body actually just doesn't know how to compensate. Your joints are still the same size. Your waist is still the same size. Your back still has the same problems in the lumbar region.
Mm-hmm.
Taking, anabolics, I think makes you feel like you can do a lot more.
Oh, there's definitely a mentality to it, right? Like when you go in the
Right.
gym, you're going to double or triple what you would do.
Right,
if you weren't.
and you're able to.
Absolutely.
But
And recover.
Your joints and lower back still remain, taxed and
Right. That's what doesn't recover.
right,
The muscle recovers, but the tendons and the joints
right.
become constant ache, pain.
So that's a lot of what I'm going through right now at my age. Is just feeling the after effects of the stress I put my body through. I've learned to work around it. I don't train anywhere near as heavy, obviously. And it's just a much more. I've never felt so good. It's just a much healthier lifestyle now.
So going from like bodybuilding to now more wellness, I guess we would say now, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say the biggest differences are? like the things you're doing different and how those are affecting you differently now?
When I competed, I mean, the hardest thing for me was to get enough food in.
Yeah.
I was constantly eating. I was eating probably 8 times a day, full meals. I think on a regular day was 1.5 pounds of chicken, which is a lot of chicken to take in. A lot of carbs. Back then the mentality was you had to have a certain amount of protein per pound of body weight, which was about 1.5 grams per pound.
I don't think that's ever left the industry to this day.
I don't either.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty common talk.
Right. So I think that's one of the main things that I learned to do differently is I don't need that much protein.
Right.
I feel better not eating like that. Since kind of being a part of cellular health, fasting was something I never even considered. But now it's really a pretty miraculous thing.
It's very hard to argue with it when you time and time again see people come in here who are either been in the industry or just come in here overweight, and you see them do this,
right,
and see how quickly they recover, get better, get healthier, feel better, move better. I mean, the weight losses that they see up here are just
it's amazing,
miraculous. I mean, at the end of the day, that's the word for it.
I've been up here almost every day, and I've not heard one person that was not just ecstatic about their results.
Yeah, I mean,
and just and enjoy fasting.
And not only that, but also sustain the diet.
Right.
I don't think this is a little off topic, but one of the things that I see time and time again, and I know you've seen it, people go on fad diets, keto, or paleo. So I'm trying to come up with something right now off the top of my head, but those are a couple that really stick out to me that I see people, and they do that whole rebound effect where they're like, let's just say easy number, 200 pounds, and they lose 20 or 30 pounds, and then they're 170. Then they stop the diet, and then all of a sudden they're 220, 230 pounds because they rebound and then gain more, right? Like, and it's like that. They lose it, and it's like that. They put it right back on and then some. Absolutely. But this is a sustainable diet the way they set it up here.
Did you see a lot of the similar things when you were in the powerlifting world?
Powerlifting, yeah. I started my journey. I was a little older when I got into it. I was about 23. I met Mark, a close friend of mine. He introduced me to powerlifting. He was my training partner for years. And he introduced me to, that the strongman community is where I originally started at. And yeah, I mean, it was I was competing within a year, and that was the mentality. They were like, sign up for a contest, get ready. You lose, you win, but it'll make you better at it, right? And then within a year of being around people and stuff and learning what it takes to compete at a higher level, I'm immediately in. Because I'm one of those people anyway, like, it's all or nothing. Like, I'm giving it 100% or I'm not even trying.
Right. I'm the same.
So like for
Once
me,
you accept the challenge, it's game on.
Yeah, and by any means necessary to win.
Right.
Like
Absolutely.
so I mean the eating, and I mean honestly, back then for strength competitors, it wasn't so much clean food as it was just putting on weight.
Right.
Get big, and then build muscle. But just eat. I can remember weekends where we would order like a whole dinner box Pizza Hut and eat the whole thing by myself.
Yeah.
I'd get the one for my kids and everybody, then one for me, and I'd eat the whole thing to try to put on the size. And then the heavy weightlifting that comes along with it, my joints hurt from it, like the training. And it was brutal. Like some of the, strongman's evolved so much since I first started in it, but I remember the outdoor training in 10-degree weather for 5 or 6 hours on Sundays. Like, it was all strongman events, and then that was outside, and then sometimes it was in the basement. It really started in the basement with Mark, and then like as I got more into it, we would go to the chair at the time. He had an outdoor facility. It was on a basketball court outside. It'd be 100 degrees or 10 degrees. It didn't matter. You showed up and you trained.
Right.
You know, and like it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. Like, but it's definitely something that I can say looking back on it. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. But people, when I first got into the sport, my mentality was, I'm trying to be healthy.
Right.
And me and you both know that that's not what that is, and neither is bodybuilding. You know,
Right.
I think a lot of people get in the sport just to try to, like you said, you were bullied.
Mm-hmm.
I was fat, out of shape, wanted to be something different,
All right.
and trying to figure out who I was at the time.
Yeah.
And it helped me figure that out. I mean, and it made me who I am today. But I think that was a big part of me learning how to break through those mental barriers, you know, that I had at the time.
Right.
Made me a man. Yeah.
Real quick.
Yeah, but it's you know, like you said, the just all the things that we take to enhance ourselves, and go through the strenuous weight training and everything. I mean, I've tore the muscle in my trap, had some shoulder issues over the years. Nothing, thank God, major for me ever. You know, that wasn't like recoverable. The muscle was probably the trap was the worst one that I ever got. I do have hip pain from time to time from it.
Yeah.
So now switching gears, I've decided recently to do another competition, but like I have been doing fasting and doing things like that, and I can tremendously tell that like I feel better.
Right.
I'm more alert, I'm more awake during the day. I'm not so foggy.
And you haven't lost any size.
No, not at all. I still eat my calories. I just eat them in my window.
Right.
You know, and I try to make healthier choices these days. Obviously, you know, like I'm not out there eating pizzas and stuff like that. Like I try to follow a better diet and be healthy with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much kind of.
I think we've pretty much given our, background on kind of the overages that we've done, and obviously being a part of this crew has changed the way that I think about a lot of things, and it's been nothing but positive.
Again, this is just part of the journey, but like I wouldn't change anything because
I wouldn't either.
What I did then and then what I'm doing now, I can see the difference, and I feel like I can kind of guide people who are coming in here and going, hey, I want to look like that, and you're like, do you want to do that, and or do you want to be healthy? Do you want to what are we going for here?
Right.
You know what I mean? Because what we're doing here is trying to promote wellness and health, and that's a whole nother animal that people are seeing when they hit the gym. It's a lot of the new people at the gym, right? That just first go in and they just don't know.
Right.
But that's my opinion on it.
I totally agree with you.